What's up, guys? This is El-Sarraf here, and El-Sarraf is here because there are now T-minus countdown 24 days until WrestleMania. Now, what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to be ranking my top 10 WrestleManias of all time, starting with number 10 in this video, and I'll be putting up number 1 probably the day pre-Mania, or maybe a few days pre that. My El-Sarraf account is still having password issues, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but I've decided that I don't want to separate the videos, so I'm going to be uploading them all onto here, up until my WrestleMania review. My WrestleMania 25 review, since I don't want to split anything up yet. Alright, I do apologize, but that account, I will, even if I have to create another new one, I will get back to it, but it is having password issues. So, but there is nothing wrong with it, no virus, no anything, it's just password issues. So, but anyway, top 10 WrestleManias of all time. My opinion, at least. Now, I know everyone else is going to have their own say, and if you do, great. Everyone has their own opinion, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with the placement of a few, and the fact that I included a few of them on my list, but it's my list and it's my opinion. So, number 10, the 10th greatest WrestleMania of all time, in my opinion, was one that took place 2 years ago, WrestleMania 23. Let the hate begin. Oh God, it's going to pour in on this video. Overall, I thought this was a very good show. I gave it an 8 out of 10 when I reviewed it, and I still stand by that rating. Let's go, you know what, let's go through a review, okay? Opening matchup was the Money in the Bank ladder match. It was Kennedy versus Orton versus Edge versus Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy versus Booker T versus Finlay and versus CM Punk. This was a great match. I thought it was a great match to open up the show. Nothing really new Money in the Bank wise, other than, of course, Jeff Hardy and Edge's spot where Jeff was on the top of the ladder. Of course, did a leg drop through Edge through a ladder. That was awesome. This match, I think it had a nice flow to it. Not the greatest flow you'd like to see in a ladder match. I felt that there were a few too many resting points. Like there were, like 3 or 4 spots in a row, and then nothing would happen for like a minute or two. I didn't like that. However, it was still overall a very good match. It had some very, very memorable points to it. And Edge was injured going into this match, so you'd see why they'd have to take him out early. In the end, Kennedy wins after doing a nice Kenton bomb off the top of the ladder onto Hornswoggle. Jeez, that looked like it must have hurt like a bitch for Hornswoggle. And yeah, overall a very good match. I'd give it 3 3/4 stars. Match 2 was Kane versus Great Khali. Bad match. In my opinion, this is the worst match of the night. It was the worst match of the night on this show. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be a big dull dud, but I ended up giving it a little bit higher than that, and it's only because Kane did try to at least pull something decent out of Khali. There was the WrestleMania 3 body slam type thing that Kane did to Khali, trying to redo Hogan and Andre, which obviously didn't work the same. Overall, this match, it was very boring. Shouldn't have been on the card, I don't think. I still think to this day that it should have been Carlito and Flair in this place of the match. But I guess this was just done to calm the crowd down after the very exciting, fast-paced Money in the Bank ladder match. But I'll give it 1/4 star, maybe half a star if you're feeling generous. But very bad match. Should not have been a WrestleMania. Up next was MVP versus Chris Benoit. This was a very good wrestling match. I thought this was very nice. These two clicked very well together, and it just saddens me to know that their feud had to end abruptly because of Chris Benoit's death. I would have liked to seen these guys go, in a submission match or like in a ladder match or something like that, just to click along with the feud, but it never happened. So anyway, good wrestling match. The only downside was it was less than 10 minutes long. And they had a match on SmackDown like 2 weeks later that was like 15 minutes long, and it was not a 4-star match, but very, very close to it. But this match, again, a good match. Benoit wins with the diving headbutt, which we very rarely saw. He usually won with like the crossface or something like that, or a roll-up. but he won with a diving headbutt, and I'd say a 3-star match. This was very well done, very well, and this match got MVP on the map, saying that yes, I can actually fucking wrestle. So yeah. Up next was the World Heavyweight title match, which I was so shocked with its placement on this card. It should have been placed a lot higher. You know, it shouldn't have been main event like a lot of people said it should have been, but it should have been at least the match before the main event. You know, it was Undertaker versus Batista in one of the most shocking matches of all time, I believe anyway, because of how good it was. I mean, going into this match, I remember, because this is when I actually started my YouTube tenure, was about a month pre-Mania 23, and I remember everyone saying, oh, it's going to be such a bad match, it should not be for the World Heavyweight title, and this shocked the hell out of a lot of people. The storytelling was great, the flow of the match was excellent. It started off action-paced and it ended action-paced. It was a solid 18 minutes, so I think that was the perfect time for these two, and some nice spots like the powerbomb through the announcer's table, the tombstone counter, I thought that was very nice, and Undertaker's, of course, dive over the top rope, and no one overshadowed anyone in this match. I guess Dave really wanted to impress the Undertaker by showing that he actually could wrestle a good match, and that's what happened here. Overall, I'm going to give this match 4 stars. I think it deserved that. I don't care what anyone says. It was a 4-star match. It was a very good match. Up next was the Originals versus the New Breed in the only ECW match of the night, I believe. This was a decent match. However, their match 2 days later on ECW was a lot better and should have been at WrestleMania. I still have no idea why they did not put that match at WrestleMania. Anyway, this match, it did have some nice points in it, but it was only like 6 minutes long. These 8 guys should have gotten a lot more than that. And like I said, it should have been their match that they had on ECW two days later. In the end, the Originals win after RVD hits the 5-star frog splash and gets the pin. I give it 2 stars since it was decent while it was going, but like I said, if you want to see a good match with these guys, watch the match on ECW a few days later. That match, I gave that match 3.25 stars, I believe, so that match definitely should have been on WrestleMania. Up next was the Bobby Lashley versus Umaga match, and the rules of this match, of course, were if Umaga won, Donald Trump had to have his head shaved. If Bobby Lashley won, Vince McMahon had to have his head shaved, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was the guest referee. This was a bit of a clusterfuck, I thought. Like it was still a very a decent to good match, but it was a big clusterfuck. Like, you know, a lot of interference, a lot of expected spots. You know, I knew going in that Shane was gonna get involved somehow and do the Van Shaminator, and you know, like these two guys going at it, it just never clicked, I thought, and it did have an okay pace to it, and obviously adding Donald Trump to the match made it made the crowd get into it a lot more, and I think that's why the match did so well crowd-wise. And of course, having Austin there, that's not going to down the crowd at all. Overall, because of the pace and because the crowd was so into it, I'll give it 2.5 stars, but I've seen some people give it like 3-4 stars. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, definitely not that high, but still all in all an okay match that deserves watching, I think, yeah. Up next was Melina versus Ashley. I really don't want to say much about this match. It was a lumberjill match, lasted 3 minutes. Not as bad as Kane versus Khali, but not very good either. Melina won with a roll-up, and that's about all I can recall. Match, I gave it like half a star, maybe a quarter. Like, you know, yeah, okay, I'll go with half a star for that one. And then the main event, Shawn Michaels versus John Cena. This was an excellent match. This was what a WrestleMania main event should be. I don't care what anyone says. The main beef that a lot of people have with this match was that John Cena won again. He won by making HBK tap out. Now, I'll admit, when I saw this match, I hated that. I hated that so much, but it does not change the fact that the match was awesome. You know, HBK starting off the match, within like 2 minutes of the bell ringing, he like dominates Cena, does the Asai moonsault onto the announcer's table, and that's just like the first 2 minutes of the match. It got a little slow in the middle, but the last 10 minutes of the match picked up extremely well. And there was one point where Shawn did like a beautiful counter to the STFU. 4.25 star match, and just an excellent Mania main event. So Mania 23 is number 10.